Hello, my name is Millennia from riftrecall.com and welcome to the Empyrean Core Dungeon Guide. The first boss is Bringhurst. One of the first abilities is Manic Assault. He will grip a person to him and do damage to them over time. This needs to be interrupted to keep the target player alive. Next he will use Rampage. This will create 2 red triangles from the boss outwards. You have 3 seconds to move out of them or you will die. After the first one hits, it will be used again a second time, but the red triangles will change position, so you need to readjust your position as needed, but do bear in mind that being closer to the boss makes it easier to move, since you have less distance to cover. The boss will debuff a random player with Blight Aura. It is a short duration buff that will damage the affected player and anyone around them, so just move out of it if you get it. The next boss is Strauss and Mercurial, which is actually 2 separate bosses in one encounter. You can kill them in any order, so in this video we killed Strauss first. Since we started with Strauss, I will cover him first. He has only one ability, which is Draining Field, and it's a quick cast time ability that puts a red circle on the floor that will damage anyone standing in it. Once Strauss or Mercurial is killed, the remaining boss will enrage and gain a damage increase, however this is not really noticeable. Mercurial, for the most part, will spam cast Stygian Dart, which deals damage to a random target. It can be interrupted but can also be easily healed through. When she casts Enter the Warp, your group will need to run to her and stay inside the purple circle until the cast is finished. Anyone standing outside the purple area when the cast is finished will die. After the cast, she will teleport to a new area and recommence the Stygian Dart spam. The third boss is Dr. Perfidus. This is a 2-phase encounter. In phase 1 the boss is immune to all damage and instead your group will need to deal with adds. The tank needs to pick them up and tank them. The boss will occasionally inject a random player with a massive amount of elixir, which will cause the adds to fixate on that person. They need to run and kite the adds until the fixation expires. Also in phase 1 the boss will throw elixirs at a purple circle on the floor. Any player's hit will be slowed and this should be dispelled in case that person has to kite adds. There will also be red circles on the floor during this phase. A bolt of lightning will hit the area and damage any player standing in it. After a period of time, a lot of unstable experiment adds will spawn at the outside of the room and begin to follow players. You need to kite these adds into the boss to remove stacks of his immunity buff. After 4 adds have hit the boss, his shield will break and you can DPS him. If the unstable experiment hits a player, it will explode, dealing damage to them. Dr. Perfidus has a very low amount of health, so he will die in a few seconds after becoming vulnerable, so just avoid the adds and the red circles until you kill him. Up next is more of an event than a boss encounter, but I will cover it nonetheless. The objective is to kill the 3 irradiated monsters because they have 3 core fragments on their back. These 3 core fragments are needed to prevent the meltdown from occurring. There is a time limit for this event, but it doesn't begin until the first core is picked up, so for this reason nobody should pick up the cores until all 3 irradiated monsters are dead. Upon dying, the monsters will spawn 3 toxic reavers. The tank should pick them up and they should be AoE down. Once all 3 monsters are dead, you need 3 people to each pick up a core fragment. Doing so will apply a dot to the person, but it is easily healed. Once you have all the core fragments, you need to jump into the water and click on the crystals to repair the damage and prevent the meltdown. Only people with core fragments should jump in the water, otherwise you will die from the radiation in the water. The final boss is Prince Caliban. He will cast Wrath of the Beast Lord. This is a large red triangle on the floor in front of him. At the end of the cast, he will deal a lot of damage to anyone in the triangle. If the tank moves, then the triangle will also move, so they need to stand still and eat the damage. Pestilent Elixir is a dot that the boss will throw at a player. It will deal damage every second for 10 seconds, but it can also be dispelled. When he casts Vitality Leech, he will target a random player and channel the spell on them, dealing damage over time. It needs to be interrupted. Finally, he will do Trample. Before initiating the cast, he will knock back all players against the wall. He will then select a player target and charge at their location. The target player must run out to the side to avoid the damage. If during the knockback you are knocked back into one of the cores around the outside of the room, then it will explode, dealing a small amount of damage to anyone around it. However, the damage is so small that it shouldn't be a concern to anyone. That concludes the Empyrean Core Dungeon Guide. If you want more information on this dungeon or want to learn the difference between Expert and Normal, then I have put a link to the written version on riftrecall.com in the description. Thank you for watching and be sure to subscribe for more videos.